Imagine this. A black boy wakes up to the sound of boots at his door. His father is dragged from their home, accused of nothing except existing in the wrong skin. The boy follows, barefoot, because he has no choice. He watches his father tied up, humiliated, forced into the center of a crowd. White families gather with baskets and blankets. They've brought food, they've brought drink, they've brought their children. It's an outing, a picnic. Pick a nigger. The boy sees hours of torture turned into spectacle. His father strung up, beaten, mutilated. His genitals cut from him and passed around. Burned while still alive. Eaten by people laughing as if they were at a carnival. The boy stands there as his father dies slowly, violently, erased in front of everyone he knows. By the end, what was once a living man is reduced to a pot of stewed flesh. Literally. Consumed, discarded, ungrieved. And the boy is told, this is the order of the world. This is leisure. This is what compassion looks like when you are not part of it. That is the soil America sits on. That is the root of selective compassion. And Charlie Kirk, in his own way, lived out that inheritance. Charlie Kirk practiced selective compassion. Not as an accident, but as a way of life. He chose when empathy mattered and when it didn't. Who deserved humanity and who didn't. For a man 6'5", his presence was built less on stature and more on that posture of dismissal. He wasn't unique in that regard, but he was consistent. He represented a particular kind of American voice, one that grows taller by shrinking others. Now, what I notice is not whether he was right or wrong, not whether he was loved or hated, but that his entire career was proof of how compassion gets weaponized, how it becomes a tool you only extend to people who already look like you, think like you, vote like you. He built his brand on deciding who counted and who didn't. And in the end, that's all that remains. A record of choices about when to care and when not to. I think about the young black boy he once told that the civil rights movement was a mistake. Imagine what it means to grow up in this country, okay? Already vulnerable, already under constant threat, and then to hear a man with a microphone say that the fight for your rights was the wrong turn. That isn't just a statement, that's a wound, and Charlie repeated wounds like that his entire career. And now he's gone. People rush in with the script we all know. Don't speak ill of the dead. Show compassion. Be better than him. But I think of his children. Imagine what it means to grow up as his kid, raised inside those sound bites, having to watch the world respond to your father with both outrage and indifference. That is also a wound built out of a foundation of white supremacy. Because to be an American is to live inside that contradiction. On the surface, it looks like civility, nice smiles, cordial exchanges, politeness that says you're entitled to your beliefs. But peel back all those layers and the image returns, the black man in the pot, stewing, cooked while the crowd watches. And as a black person, you are told to wait your turn. Not for survival, but for the slow erosion of your soul. It is not always fatal fear anymore. Sometimes it is subtle. Most times it is subtler, quieter, more desecrating. The slow compromise of your own divinity just to be considered a citizen. That is the work of Americanization. To fit in, you must accept some piece of white supremacy as just the norm, just the way things are. And when our current president, Donald Trump, rose to power, that truth wasn't created, it was revealed. None of it happened by accident. In a country where every call is tracked, where every move is automated, where intelligence agencies plan 1,000 steps ahead, nothing about this was coincidence. Charlie Kirk's death was not a random act. It was manifestation, yes, but also orchestration. Things like this don't just happen anymore, y'all. The system is too intentional, too programmed. And so when I sit within my body, it tells me there is no sorrow here, no pull towards grief, only awareness. That awareness is uncomfortable, and it goes against what we're trained to say. We're taught that every death deserves mourning, that refusing grief makes us cruel, but look closer, y'all, it is cruelty itself that makes this an honest moment. Is it cruelty to name the limit, or is it honesty? When I say I don't feel sadness, I'm not celebrating, I'm not gloating. I'm not dancing on anyone's grave, I'm simply telling the truth. My empathy does not reach him. Because what Charlie Kirk represented was not just one man's opinion. It was a system of thought, a system that still has real power in this country, a system that says Black lives are expendable, queer lives are disposable, immigrant lives are negotiable. That system has always demanded our compassion while refusing to offer any in return. It asks us to forgive it before it even apologizes, to cry for it when it never cries for us. That's a sickness. That's the contradiction. And Charlie Kirk embodied it in public for years. Now here's the deeper reflection. People like him rarely imagine that they'll ever have to taste their own medicine. They believe compassion will always be there waiting for them, even when they withhold it from everybody else. But justice doesn't work that way. Justice is not revenge. It is balance, though. At some point, the weight of your choices becomes the record of your life. And when people don't weep for you, that's not cruelty, that's consequence. So I sit here with my own awareness of body, my own honesty. I don't feel sorrow for Charlie Kirk. What I feel is clarity. Clarity that tells me my compassion belongs to the living, to the people still struggling, to communities still carrying wounds. Clarity that says my energy should be spent replenishing what is ours, not grieving for someone who spent his life denying it. Because the truth is this, and this is on God, okay? My likelihood of being shot in this country is as high as anyone else's, but I know I am less likely to put that violence back into the world if I refuse racism, if I choose the truth that we are all one, if I commit to respecting and replenishing every culture, not erasing them. That's where my compassion lives. That is where my compassion lives. The hardest part, the part that stings, is how close we are to the breakthrough. We are standing on the edge of a cultural singularity, y'all. A chance to move past division, past fear, past the us versus them sickness, with no need for Star Trekism. And still, people like Charlie Kirk worked overtime to keep us locked in, to keep us small, to keep us fearful. And so I returned to the boy, watching his father mutilated, burned, consumed, and then discarded. And now those same white hands that tore his father away are reaching for the boy too. Reaching for us. Not with love, but with an expectation that we will die to our own morals, our own beliefs, our own truths, just because a white supremacist died. But Charlie Kirk was already gone. Alive by science, alive by heartbeat, alive by breath, but not living. To live is to practice love, and he didn't practice love for everybody. He was a zombie, already dead. That is what I refuse to grieve for. Not the man, not the body, but the system he reinforced. That system of selective compassion. That system of fear. Free Palestine. Fuck Jerry Seinfeld. Please forgive my immodesty because y'all already know how I do. This is the real truth they don't want you to see. This is BlaccDandy322. Oh God.